There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is simply actions that manifest from a lack of masculinity. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Let's party, guys. It is another episode of It's Complicated. You know what's going on. Let's get into it.
What is the difference between masculine and feminine energy?
I feel like feminine energy is like, just, it relates back to I feel like old times, like womenish roles and like the feminine energy that go along with that. Like men should, in my opinion, open the door and just like feminine energy, and masculine energy is more of like the, not in control, but just like the leader of the relationship, in my opinion.
The problem with that is that, many guys have no issues being chivalrous. But you have women like this who will say that they want that, and then you hold the door open for another woman, and you'll get, oh, I don't need you to hold the door open for me.
So,
not quite aggressive, but more like go-gettery.
Go-gettery, that's a new one.
Whereas feminine energy tends to always be seen as a more caretakery.
So go-gettery versus caretakery. So it sounds like the way people are understanding this is, pretty much how we've always understood it. That the man has the role of doing the stuff, and the woman has the role of making sure everything that has been procured from the guy doing the stuff is all good, whether that be the house, the kids, whatever else.
I feel like super safe and a little bit more like
I feel safer around masculinity. Femininity is more like happy.
We're happier.
So they bring up safety. So again, that ties into the ability to protect. What makes them feel safe is the fact that they feel that you can protect them.
Does a man have to be masculine in order to attract a woman?
for me, yes.
Yes. Does a woman need to be feminine in order to attract a man?
Yes, for me, yes.
Typically, that's the case. But all you need to do is be there. And there's some simp who will come along and...
Do you think women are more attracted to masculine or feminine men?
Masculine.
I believe...
Really? It takes you that long to answer that question? I would have thought answer like that. Of course women like masculine men. They want feminine not feminine features, but characteristics that might typically be considered feminine if they are strong in that person's personality. So if you're crying all the time, that's a feminine type of thing. But it's not even like women are just crying all the time. But the point is that women do want a guy who's in touch with his emotions, able to listen, all that stuff. But that can't be at the forefront. That has to be a characteristic that falls behind the masculinity that they are talking about.
You just feel safe.
I feel safe.
Honestly, and it's just hot.
There we go. It's safety.
Definitely more attracted to masculine.
What do you think women find attractive about a man in touch with his masculinity?
As they were just saying, I feel safe. He can wrap his arms around me. If anything happens, I can go off on a stranger and he's going to beat them up for me. I mean,
how confident he can be, how sure he is of himself. He can lead her. Go back to being what I said, leading her in a certain direction, taking charge of certain situations, being protective. It's that whole protect, provide nature.
That he's able to care for me and protect me when we're out in public.
He's a provider. He can take care of me. Also put in that assertiveness. That's what I like about the masculine energy.
And what's attractive about a man in touch with his femininity?
I feel like they're less likely to see things like me being a breadwinner more as a threat, and they're more likely to see it as a positive thing and celebrate my success.
The problem isn't that men are threatened if you make money. It's the fact that you feel that that is something that you bring to the table in dating when, like they say, she can say, your money is our money, but my money is my money. It's not, there might be men who are intimidated by women who make a lot of money, but that's not the problems you run into, honey.
I think since it's so looked down upon, it's cool to see guys who are in touch with such feminine parts about themselves.
Why is that?
I don't know, because you just don't see it as an everyday thing. So once you see it, it's just okay, he's not scared to go out of his comfort zone for something that's not normalized in this social society.
So she brings up a good point. That's exactly what I was saying, is that you want to have a soft side. But even that soft side, that ability to tap into your emotions, is an extension of your masculinity. It has to do with the comfort and confidence in who you are to be able to express yourself.
I would rather my man be a little bit more feminine or sensitive in that tone. You know what I'm saying? I really don't like to use feminine and masculine because I just feel like people should just be who they are. You know what I'm saying? If you're soft, if you're
What does that mean?
gentle, if you're loving, then it is what it is. And if you go by rough love or tough love or anything, I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody's out there with tough skin for you.
That's perfect woman speak for, I don't want to offend anybody, but I have very clear things. But it's just about when the question wasn't, is it okay to be a different type of person? We're talking about in the context of dating and attraction from women. Well, it's just okay. Just be yourself.
At what point does masculinity become toxic masculinity?
When there is not enough. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is simply actions that manifest from a lack of masculinity.
If they're too demanding,
Arrogant,
overwhelming,
yeah.
egotistical.
Again, all of those things, masculine men don't feel the need to do that. Masculine men don't need to be demanding because they know that you as a woman want to prove yourself. You want to do whatever it is to be around. That's what it means to be, the head of the household.
I feel like when they're taking over the relationship and it's like unbalanced energy, that's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. When it becomes unbalanced and they use that masculine energy as power over you and they become controlling.
I feel like it's when they let that masculinity become their only personality trait and they almost feel disgusted with doing anything that may be considered more feminine.
That's a good point too. If it, hyper masculinity and a sole focus on masculinity and masculine traits is not the same thing as being extremely masculine, if that makes sense. You can be very masculine without focusing on how you portray yourself as masculine. Because again, that notion of, I need to seem tough and masculine is not very confident. That comes from an insecure place.
If men had the space to really be themselves and not be pressured into thinking that they're gay or soft or, whatever it may be, I feel like if we didn't have that type of thought about men being gay or anything, then men would be more softer. They would be more in tune with their feelings, and they would be just, I don't know, just better people.
Do you think toxic masculinity is more likely to come from an alpha or beta male?
Alpha.
See, that's the thing. The notion of an alpha male is being conflated with men who are toxically masculine or just toxic in general. It's not toxically masculine. They're just toxic. And they are men, and they are portraying masculinity. So you mix that all up, and you get toxic masculinity. But those men who do that are not alpha males. Those are the betas who are trying to pretend that they are alphas. Alpha male types don't give a crap about who is alpha and who is beta and who is this. They just are themselves. Exactly like we were saying earlier. Just confidence in being yourself.
I think it can come from both, honestly. Maybe probably a beta. Maybe alpha.
He knows.
I don't know exactly. I don't know.
And yeah, I mean, it's not like, there's only two categories of men, and this category, they're all great, and that category is all bad. But more likely.
What is the difference between alpha and beta males?
I think alpha is someone who would kind of be considered a leader. And I think a lot of the time that carries a bad rep, but I don't personally think that it is. So
there you go.
Can toxic masculinity exist without toxic femininity?
No, they go hand in hand.
So then,
see, again, even this toxic femininity, I don't necessarily think that that's a useful term because you can't have too much femininity. I think, right? Femininity is a good thing. So it makes sense that the more feminine you are, in terms of, again, in the context of dating, the better it would be. If you're using those feminine traits, like manipulating, crying all the time to get what you want, stuff like that, I don't know that that would be called femininity. That's just toxic behavior coming from a woman. And I think it's important that we differentiate between these things. This is the semantic obfuscation that I keep always talking about. If we are putting somebody who is a toxic person in the same category as somebody who is just a very masculine person, we're doing a disservice to a lot of people in society.
why don't we just call it toxic behavior?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's definitely it's just toxic behavior on both halves.
Ask me if I watched this before. Usually I will to make sure that we got something. But when it comes to it's complicated, I know we're going to have a good time. I had no idea that was coming.
What does toxic femininity look like?
You girls know. You know what you do. I'm just saying. There's girls know what they're doing. If you ever think that a girl is innocent, you're probably wrong. She knows what she's doing.
bitchiness for sure.
For sure.
So then why are there some women who are proud of being bitches?
I have no idea.
I would say I kind of am one of those girls.
So you're toxically feminine.
Yeah, we're
Yup.
I'd
toxic.
say it's definitely helped me in the world. I'd say I used to let men walk all over me, and now being a bitch to men has definitely helped me like put them in their place and be able to show
Put them in their place.
them that like I am an equal partner, you know?
So you have to be a bitch in order to show that you're equal. That sounds like toxic behavior, and it sounds like it's not feminine behavior. So that doesn't sound like toxic femininity to me at all. That just sounds like toxicity coming from a female.
Why would you have to be a bitch in order to show men that you're an equal
Great
partner?
question.
Like,
I guess it's the type of men that I go for.
well, I'm saying
It's the type of men that you go for. So it has nothing to do with with men as a whole. It has to do with you and your choices. Okay, at least you're aware of it.
isn't there a difference between like having healthy boundaries and just having a bad attitude?
Yes,
Yup.
there's definitely a difference for sure.
For me, bitchiness is more about being assertive.
Yeah.
But those are not the same thing. Being assertive is showing and that you have your boundaries and you're not going to let them be crossed. Being bitchy is an entirely different thing. Is being, I mean, it can take many forms, but having boundaries and sticking to them is not under the category of bitchiness. So those are two different things. So maybe they accomplish the same thing in your mind, but maybe that's because you're going after the wrong guys.
Why is there so much media attention exposing the flawed nature and behavior of men, but not also the flawed nature and behavior of women?
Because in this day of age, women like to be victims. I am a strong
Yup.
believer in that, and
I like
feel bad
her.
for a lot of guys. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's all about like how you talk to any girl and she'll say her ex is a narcissist. Like, not every guy walking this earth is a narcissist. I'm sorry, I just don't believe in that.
I would say maybe that has to do with the algorithm in your phone or what you're searching up or what they promote
Facts.
to you. Like when I go on my YouTube, I see a lot of that, a lot of downplaying men, a lot of downplaying what we do or what we provide.
And that's not even the algorithm because it's everywhere. Regardless of what you watch, you're going to find something where men are being put down, whether it's just for the sake of putting men down or for the sake of lifting women up. It doesn't matter. It has infiltrated everything. There is no algorithm in the world that will keep you away from that.
A lot of trying to uplift women. Not to say that they shouldn't be
Mhm.
uplifted, but it's
Exactly.
kind of to me it's a matter of why are we bringing men down and not uplifting men just like we're uplifting women.
Exactly. So he's saying most of the time that he sees it on his timeline, it's in the service of uplifting women. Not that women shouldn't be uplifted, but why do we have to put men down in order to do that? Because we are certainly not allowed to put down women to uplift men, which we shouldn't. We should be uplifting everyone. A rising tide lifts all boats. We're all in the same country. We're all in the same society. We're all on the same team. We seem to have forgotten that.
Are women more attracted to nice guys or bad boys?
Bad boys.
Bad boys.
Bad boys, bad boys.
Bad boys.
So then why should men care about what women want?
They shouldn't, but it's just like women care about what men want. Like,
We do.
No one should care.
Do you know? Do you know? I don't know how much you really care about what men want. I think you care about what men want in the context of you getting what you want, but I don't think you care. Maybe not these women specifically, but women in general. Y'all don't care about what men want. You only care about what you need to do to get with a quality man.
But we do. It's just human nature.
Men need women, women need men.
If men and women need each other, why do gay people exist?
Okay, aside from that.
Okay, yeah. Apart from that,
Why do women complain about toxic masculinity when women enable that behavior by choosing to date bad boys?
Oh,
There's no good answer there.
Again, victimizing themselves.
Except for that. There you go. Victimization. The oppression
You
Olympics.
guys just love being the victim.
I couldn't even say, man. Like you guys are perpetuating that stuff, you know. Like you choose to be with this guy that's gonna fuck on other females, excuse my language, or go do some other stuff behind your backs, be cheating on you and stuff. And
See, he knows. He's just not allowed to say it.
you got the nice guy over here, and you don't give him no opportunity, and then eventually
Nope.
that turns him into that. Now he's looking at it like, all right, for me to even compete, I gotta treat you like that.
So you have nice guys out there and they're not getting any attention. They're not getting any play. And they look over at Giga Chat over here, treating you like ish. And he's like, well, if that's what I have to do, if that's what y'all want, if that's what y'all going after, that's what I'm gonna do. So who's really training who? Who's really setting the tone for all of this?
Women often are really, really insecure. Like, we like to project our insecurity. So a lot of the time, the loudest and proudest girl out there is
Yup.
definitely the one that has, some mental issues and insecurities. That's what I'd say.
Why is it when a woman doesn't have a man, she often has to take on a masculine role, but when a man doesn't have a woman, he doesn't necessarily have to take on a feminine role?
That's a great question. And I mean, to just answer it myself, why does, if a woman doesn't have a man, she has to take on masculine roles, but if a man doesn't have a woman, he doesn't take on feminine roles? And that's because the masculine roles are fundamental to living. We just established that even the bitch established that men and women need each other. But the fundamental infrastructure of how we live, whether it's literally building things or you know, making all of that stuff, that is more masculine. And so if there's no man, then you got to pick up that slack. Whereas I don't need, you know, nice curtains. I don't need whatever. It would be nice. Nice new duvet, a nice new slipcover, nice little orange pillow back here, yellow pillow back here. It's all nice. But I don't need it.
Ooh.
Let's see what she says.
That's too good a question for me to answer personally.
I just think women like are more like apt to be more manly than,
And independent.
like it's okay for a woman to be more like manly than it is for a man to be like feminine. I think. I just feel like people think that, even though
It's definitely true, but I think the question is why. You know, being a tomboy was never a big deal. I mean, until the trans community came around. But being a flamboyant boy was never okay. Why is that?
shouldn't be true.
That's a normal thing for us, is to go through hardships to earn your scars and to earn your pain. And then from that, you become the man that you are. And then with women, it's not necessarily the same thing. You can be independent and then work on yourself and stuff, but you usually develop, again, those same scars. And then that puts a coating on you. And then that makes it more difficult when you try and get into a relationship, because now you feel like you have to do this stuff for yourself instead of being able to let the person you'll be with do it for you.
When a woman doesn't have a man to take care of her and provide for her, she has to do it for herself, and that's considered being more masculine.
Well, wouldn't that prove that masculinity is more essential for survival than femininity?
Ooh, fuck.
She knows. She knows.
I've never thought about that, so it's all right.
And if
So you never thought about it, so that answer is no.
that's true, why is masculinity seen as toxic?
Masculinity is vital for society to continue existing.
Wouldn't that
Yes,
mean that
it
the
is.
man couldn't survive without the woman though? Because like we could do the
Sure about that?
man and woman part, but a man could only do the man part.
Well, right, but I'm just saying the man doesn't necessarily have to take on a more feminine role because he can survive doing the man part and just stay that way.
They can
Exactly.
survive, but they're not doing too well. They're not doing too hot. I mean,
I'm doing fine.
single man's a
How are you doing? But between the three of us, who do you think is on the most mental health medications? Just saying.
Many times.
Men are, well, it's a fact, it's a known fact. Men are physically more capable than women. They are stronger. So I think some of the roles that come not only in dating, but also marriage, like things that happen around the house, you know.
And in life, just life in general, taking it outside of dating. You know, the old example is you drop 100 women on a desert island, you drop 100 men on the other side of that island. Guess who's going to last longer?
The toilet breaks, I'm not fixing it. Like, I hope a man does. No offense. I will
I got
definitely
you,
do the
girl.
cleaning, because that's just,
I'll fix your
I don't
toilet.
know. I don't know. You're probably asking the wrong person about this.
Why do women often attack a man's masculinity when they don't get what they want?
I think that's an insecurity thing. Like, all right, you're not going to bend to my will, or I'm going to attack this about you. But I feel like
Yup.
both genders do that, so.
Isn't that hitting below
That's
the belt?
true.
Yes.
A lot of
That's
the
true.
time when we think about men who are masculine, it's just them being, it's like them knowing who they are. And I feel like if you're insecure and you're around, even in friendships, like if you're around someone who's so strong in who they are, like you're definitely going to be threatened by that. And so that's probably why a lot of females like attack men for that.
That was an insight into female thinking. If you have friends who are strong, that's going to make you feel insecure. Not for me. Not for me. I'm a short dude. I'm a weak dude. I don't have a lot of money. Not yet. That's super thanks. I have friends who are tall. I have friends who are strong. I have friends and I am cheering them along all the way. So maybe that's a masculine trait as well, to be able to be happy for other people. Listen to it again.
I feel like if you're insecure and you're around, even in friendships, like if you're around someone who's so strong in who they are, like you're definitely going to be threatened by that. And so
If you're around someone who is strong in who they are, you're going to be threatened by that. Not me.
that's probably why a lot of females like attack men for that, I'd say.
Who do you think cares more about masculinity, men or women?
I definitely think it's men, 100%. I do feel like
That's a good question. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Who cares more about masculinity, women or men? I have no idea.
women, there are a lot of women that help them, but I do feel like men, like I said, about social construct and everything. I feel like society is more harder on men. And so that makes them want to be more masculine or prove to themselves, to other men, that they're more manly. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly think women. I think women are always targeting men, whether it's in a bad way or a good way. We're always like attacking them for anything they do. I feel like in this generation, there's no winning.
So
in this generation, there is no winning if you're a man.
would you say that men are conditioned by other men to act a certain way?
I feel like men are conditioned by society, men and women, to act that way.
I think that goes along with anybody. I think that can be a women thing too. But I think a lot of the time women are expected to be super independent. Women are pushed to go to college and be super, like, not that it's wrong. I think that if you want to do that, go ahead. But there's nothing wrong with wanting to raise a family and stay home. And same thing with a guy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be the breadwinner of the family. So
how do you...
that's another thing about all of this, is that if you want to be progressive and modern and everything, that's great. But society has kind of shown that we don't really accept people who want to keep this traditional lifestyle. When I thought progressivism was all about tolerance. Why can't we be tolerant of you wanting to go do, hot girl summer and all that stuff? Why can't you respect that other people don't want to do that, don't want to live that way, want to live a different way? Seems kind of silly to flip it on your head like that, because y'all are always the ones who are saying, oh, we just want to live our truth. Well, you know what? A lot of people's truth is the same thing that has been everybody's truth for a long, long time. And you should be okay with that, no matter who you are.
Do you think we can fix that?
Well, we need to have more conversations.
I hope so.
That's one thing. It needs to be more topics like this. We need to be able to, I want to say, mind your own damn business. You know what I'm saying?
Why is our society constantly inflating women's egos to the point of delusional, while simultaneously deflating and demoralizing men's egos to the point of suicidal?
Money, 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 money! It's all about the money. Women are the majority consumers in society. Men do all this stuff, but they don't buy stuff. At least not the same way women do. So who cares? Everything is run by the corporations and I got that whole conversation. It's all about the money.
Oh man, I really couldn't. I guess they're just
money.
They want women nowadays to be so much more. I say masculine, that whole independent woman thing. I get it. Men of the past weren't perfect, but neither were women of the past. So
Facts.
what it goes up into is that you have these women that are older now and they want to start families or they want to do other things, and you have this bravado about you, and it's not attractive to a real alpha male or to a real omega male, or it's just not seen as attractive.
Omega
and then
male.
What happens with men that are not in that situation, that are not as pronounced, they end up being because they can't find a decent woman to fit into what they're looking for, their standards or their qualifications at that. So it's like, all right, none of these women want to rock with me how I need you to rock. Now what am I supposed to do?
All right, so another great episode, lots of great conversation. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments. Thank you so much for partying with me. Once again, I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of Common Sense. Check me out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until then, guys, I am out of here. Peace.